Hey gamers, welcome to the newest episode of the Bearded Gamer Show. Now as always, I'm your host with the awesome beard, Chris Arnone. Alright, let's talk some video games. Let's fire it right up with some good news, bad news. So first up is a tremendous piece of really good news. Now most of you are familiar with CD Projekt. Now if you're not, you must just hate video games. Why are you watching this? Anyway, they're the awesome people behind The Witcher and The Witcher 2. Just a couple of the best RPGs ever made. Hello. Well, they've announced their newest project is called Cyberpunk. Now it is based on the tabletop role-playing game Cyberpunk 2020. Now I freaking adore Cyberpunk, whether it's, in video games like Deus Ex or, in fiction. I just finished reading The Diamond Age by Neil Stephenson, technically post-Cyberpunk, but still, I love that kind of stuff. And to have these awesome developers creating an open-world RPG like they do so well in a futuristic cyberpunk universe, I'm just freaking jazzed about that. Very excited. Awesome news right there. So next we'll go into some bad news. 38 Studios, this is the studio behind Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, is shutting its doors. They laid off all employees. It's done. They just didn't sell enough copies of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which was really a pretty good game, but they needed to sell at least 3 million to keep their doors open, and right now they're sitting at about 1.14 according to VGCharts.com. Now, what's really extra sad about this, Kurt Schilling, owner, founder of 38 Studios, released some screenshots of a long in development MMO called Project Copernicus. You see one screenshot there, and I got another one for you. Hit that second one. There you go. Really cool looking concept art for Project Copernicus. And I always lament the closing of a studio. There's people whose livelihoods depended on that, people who worked hard, and to see that go away, that's really hard. But then also, there's this lost art. I mean, literally, these people were working on this project for a long time. These great ideas, this art, this collaborative effort that's just, it's gone. It's poof. It's in the wind now. And maybe this team can get together under another studio. Somebody else will pick it up and get the ball rolling from there. But more likely than not, what usually happens with these projects is, this is all you'll ever see of it, and that's pretty sad. So, next, some straight-up news. Now, I was just talking about Activision versus West Zampella, the two guys originally behind Infinity Ward and Call of Duty and all that. Well, recently they had announced that their trial was being delayed till June 1st, which is the day I'm filming right now. Well, they ended up settling out of court. Now, what's disturbing is that it's completely confidential. In other words, we have no idea who was actually at fault, who did wrong, who was in the right. I don't know. They settled it at court. It's completely confidential. They closed it off. So all of us game journalists who've been chomping at the bit to find out what was going to happen, thoroughly anticlimactic ending. So, but the good news is everybody can go back to making games and stop bickering in the courts. So that's why it's sort of balanced, good and bad. Next, some straight up good news. I'm loving this stuff. Okay, Humble Indie Bundle. Most of you should be familiar with this by now. They keep doing them over and over again. It's a bunch of these independent developers with independent games get together and offer them up all for charity. And you can pick how much you want to pay. You could pay $1, you could pay $100,000, whatever, and you can determine how much of it goes to the developers, how much to the Child's Play charity, and how much, of course, to the people who actually run the Humble Indie Bundle website. But I tell you what's amazing about this, the games lineup they have for this one. Okay, check this out. Limbo, Swords and Sorcery EP, Amnesia, Dark Descent, Psychonauts, and if you pay at least 1 penny more than the average donation price, which fluctuates from kind of minute to minute almost, you also get Bastion for PC. And with all these, you also get the soundtracks to all of them. And they're all DRM free. If you spend at least $1, you also get the Steam keys for all of them, all for PC or Mac. It's a great deal, and just what a lineup of games. I got mine, go and get yours, and it's for a good cause. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Good games for a good cause. Really? Wow. All right. Finish off with, sadly, some bad news. Now, Blizzard, their headquarters in Korea, were recently raided by the Korean authorities because of people complaining about Diablo 3. People were complaining, with all the server issues they've had and saying they wanted their money back, they wanted refunds. And Blizzard said, no, it's right in their policies that you agree to when you buy it, that no, you don't get refunds for it. Well, it's not America, and apparently the Korean authorities will just go in, bang down your door, and go and raid the place to try and figure out if these people's complaints are merited enough to demand a refund. So I can't just imagine what it must have been like to be in the Blizzard studios when here come the authorities knocking down your door, raiding the entire venue. That's just wild, and it speaks volumes about the issues that Diablo 3 has been having. It's a great game, it's a lot of fun, but man, they've had a lot of server problems, and it's been tough getting it off the ground. All right, that does it for the news. Let's get right into a controller confessional. So I've talked about cloud gaming on the show before, and the general consensus always sort of came down to most gamers really aren't ready for at least what's out there. They don't think it's a viable solution for gaming or somewhere that we can go currently, within the cloud. Now, before I get into this further, I want to talk about what's available right now in the mainstream. Now, granted, there's probably a lot of little things, but the big ones, first off, is OnLive. Now, I've gotten to mess around with this product firsthand. It's on PC, it's on Mac. They also have a mini console that has a sort of an Xbox 360 style controller, and it'll stream so long as you're hardwired in. And it's pretty cool. They got a good selection of games. Now the graphics are a little meh, and there is admittedly some lag, so depending on what you're playing, that can be an issue. But overall, it's pretty cool, and it's come a long way. It keeps advancing and getting better and better and better every month. Then there's also Gaikai, which now personally I don't have a lot of experience with Gaikai. I haven't gotten to play with it too much. I've looked at it a little bit, but it's kind of the same idea. It's gaming through the cloud. So instead of your machine doing the computing, they have servers that are doing the computing and just streaming it to you. But why this all got in my peripheral recently is because Sony is reported to be looking into buying either OnLive or Gaikai. Now, exact reasons why they want to do this is still a bit unclear. There's a lot of rumors about why they may be looking into it, but they're definitely looking at it. They're trying to buy one of these, whether that's inclusion on the PlayStation 4 or what it is hard to say right now. But there could be some really cool stuff, with cloud gaming. Now, it has places other than like OnLive and Gaikai. Like, for instance, Steam for a long time has allowed you to back up your saves to the cloud. Recently, in the last several months, PlayStation offered this for PlayStation Plus members, and with your Xbox Live Gold, you can also back up your saves to the cloud. Now, where that's really cool is you can go to your friend's house who also has the same console, sign in, and get your saves from the cloud. So that's turned out to be really, really cool. Another cool thing, recently Diablo 3, for instance, which came out, all of your saves go to the cloud. There's also some, there's some contention there, though, because they're all going to the cloud. It's, what if those servers go down? You can't access your characters. There's so many things with everything being online with Diablo 3 that have caused issues. This is just a possible other one. It's not such a big deal with like PlayStation and Xbox 360 because you can keep your save local and back it up online. You have that option, you have that flexibility. A lot of people are really afraid to let things that are theirs out of their control and into the cloud. But you know what? There could be some really cool things that maybe we're not always thinking about that could be done with the cloud. For instance, there's a rumor, now this is a rumor, that possibly one thing Sony could be using the cloud for is to fix their backwards compatibility issue. Now, of course, when the PS3 first came out, it had PS2 backwards compatibility. All of them still have PS1 backwards compatibility. But as I've said, an issue with OnLive is the graphics. The graphics definitely suffer. In fact, I will tell you, I have firsthand experience talking to a certain PR rep from a major, should we say, PC video card manufacturer deriding OnLive and their graphics capabilities. But if you're stepping back a generation, you're doing the PS2 generation, the PS1 generation, streaming that, you're already stepping back a level with your graphics. I don't think it would have any issue trying to stream those graphics when all you're getting is a little graphical hit trying to play something like Batman Arkham City or Saints Row the Third. So it could be really a good solution for them instead of having to put that extra computational power into the PS3, which, yes, that part of the reason we have a PS3 Slim is because they took the PS2 backwards compatibility out of it. You don't believe me? I talked to a Sony engineer myself, and he said that, okay? It's gospel truth right there. That is part of why we got the Slim, is because they were able to take some of the hardware out of it and shrink the whole thing down some. It's only part, not all. But that's there, and I think that could be a really cool option. You know, there's a lot of PS2 games out there that I still love, but I don't want to have another console hooked up to my TV. I think my girlfriend would kill me. So to be able to just stream that old school stuff through your modern console would be really, really cool. Some other ideas. If you're playing on the cloud, okay? You know, and God forbid, if there's a new patch rolls out, the patch rolls out to the cloud, you don't have to wait for that patch to download. It's already installed. Next time you fire up your game to run through the cloud, there it is. Another possibility, PlayStation Vita, okay? Now there are certain games where you can play it on your PS3, save your game, grab your Vita, and play it there. And a lot of that has to do with the cloud, using the cloud with cross-platform play. So instead of having to like physically transfer your save over to one, just having it instantly sync up to the cloud as soon as you're done, you grab your portable, as soon as you turn it on, it grabs it from the cloud, and boom, you're going. Speaking of, portables, that's just huge. I mean, the whole point is you want to take it with you. You don't want to have to take it with you and a freaking like bag with all of your games in it too rattling around. So to be able to have all that in the cloud, so long as you have an internet connection, of course, that is the one big drawback with the cloud. You got to have that internet connectivity. Yeah, but that could be a really good mix right there. And of course, the final thing that could happen, of course, is Skynet could essentially become, self-realizing, and it'll go off and massacre all of reality TV or humanity. It's the good with the bad. You take what you can take. So, but yeah, I think that there's definitely a future with the cloud. Maybe not in this current generation of consoles, maybe not in the next one. But if consoles survive and our internet speed keeps getting faster and faster and faster, and we definitely would have more and more bandwidth to do that, the cloud could really be instrumental and a big part of how we play games. All right, let's finish up this video with a little Nerd TV. Now, usually when I got an awesome new video game trailer to show you, it goes full screen, we go lots of sound, and it looks really cool. And then my YouTube videos get demonetized, and that sucks, even though I have all the rights in the world to actually show you this video and get ads on it, but whatever. So, I'm going to try something a little different. I've watched this particular trailer about 3 times now to get it, completely wrap my head around it. We're going to play it on my little TV right here, okay? And I'm going to talk about it because, I'm a big fan of fighting games. I'm a big fan of DC Comics. So, I'm going to give you some insights. All right, so let's roll the announcement trailer, the E3 announcement trailer for Injustice: Gods Among Us. Okay, got to show you that. Right. I like the new DC Comics logo. Any thoughts on that? I know they just redesigned it a few years ago, but kind of digging it. NetherRealms. Hello, the guys behind Mortal Kombat. I start to get into this here. Some ice, and that is the Flash. So with the ice, that makes me think Killer Frost. That's one of Flash's villains. And of course, Batman. Strangely, he's fighting Solomon Grundy, which is usually more of a Superman villain because he's really huge and powerful. Can never die. It's like a supervillain version of Frankenstein's monster. Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman. Now, usually that's a Batman matchup, but that's all right. Chick fight. Now this is kind of hard to see. That's Lex Luthor in his power armor, and of course, Big Blue Superman going all really mad. Okay, now we get some moves. Now, cool. Now, how Batman would ever kick that hard is completely beyond me. That's pretty cool. Now this is crazy. This is just, I've never seen a set piece like this in a fighting game. It totally makes sense when you're dealing with, these crazy powerful superheroes that, like I said, gods amongst us. They're like gods among men. It's such a bold title choice too, I think, just because it doesn't say DC superheroes. It doesn't immediately point to this is a DC Comics fighting game, not like Marvel versus DC Universe. I'm curious to see what the story is, but at the same time, not really, because let's admit it, it's a fighting game. The best fighting game story ever was in the most recent Mortal Kombat, which was like an amalgamation of all the worst B movies ever made. So, story is not usually the strong point, but I'm curious, to see how they're mixing this together and what would justify that particular title. So that looks really, really cool. Of course, no idea when that's actually going to come out, but very excited for that one. All right, guys, that about does it for this episode. Of course, check out my website, beardedgamershow.com, and head over to BlizzPlanet Gaming on YouTube also to check out some work that I do over there. And we'll see you guys next time.